Because on Tuesday, I kind of feel like most of you are struggling about this junction table or bridge table, right? But I was trying to grade the first few assignments for chapter 5 homework. I saw Tasha's submission. Tasha, remember we have a question similar to this one. They call like students and probably enrollment. Do you recall? I even make a few comments under your submission. So that
Yes.
question is pretty much similar to like these three, like, we are looking for here, because initially we only have the students table or the entity of students. Then we have the course, or you can see like I want to track the enrollments for a semester. So in that case, because the original students entity or table and the course listing, so when we're trying to identify the relationships, yeah, I know like students register for classes, right? But when you analyze the multiplicity as we discussed last time, so we see both sides, you have one too many. So student can register like 0 or minimum 1, and then 5 classes. From the other side, the classes can be registered by 0 students or 1 student, or as many as students under the maximum, like 40, right? So maximum. So when you end up with a relationship like this, sometimes it's happened. So then when you implement in a real database, so remind you, you must build something in the middle. Because if you try to put all of the like student and the courses and then courses students, you mess up both of the original entities. So you end up with students with multiple classes in different semesters, and then the courses with all of the students from the different semesters. So you lose the concentration of your primary focus for student profile and the course profile. So we solve this problem by building this junction table or bridge table by like making so like a link, right? So pull the information from the two tables, student and then course ID, or like the class ID. So by doing this, in this bridge table, we focus on each student and their courses, the courses they registered. So it means one student can get multiple courses, like 4 or 5 courses based upon the registration without interfering with the original student table and also the course listing table. So for this middle table, I really focus on the registration, or in the homework, they call student enrollment. So we have each student, so you can repeat this student like 4 or 5 rows with each of the course he or she registered. Then you move to another student for another 4 or 5 classes. So this you can see is a dynamic table, right? So this middle one, and we can do this per semester, right? The students table, think about it, can be a permanent stable, right? So probably you like for the 4 years or 5 years you stay at the TSU, and this is a permanent table, like unless you update, for example, your name or maybe address, but the TIN number is a permanent, right? So primary key holding forever, even you graduated. Then the course listing is kind of dynamic,
Changes. But
right?
doesn't it
Yeah.
change
Yeah, the course
depending on the
will change
course you
because
are?
the course semester, right? So I should say semester course. So this is more a term, right? So in this case, the register, you can see our catalog, right? So we have spring catalog, fall catalog, or summer catalog. So that database will update as we move to different semesters. Make sense? Right? Because even the accounting system, like 300, the title is the same, but each semester the course ID is different, so I can identify is fall, summer, or the spring, okay, for each year. So this is a changing one, and the student registration is also a changing one. So we are combining the permanent student information by the term course listings, right? So you can see we can add like the enrollment, the number of the students, prerequisites. You can see later in my access, I already have other attributes added, but this is the idea. And then we can add the related other tables. Those are simple because they only have this one-to-many, like you can have a advisor table, right? So like advisor or registered person. I think the advisor are probably related for each school, right? So like we have business school, we have probably 3 or 4 advisors, right? So serving all of our students. I don't know. I know. Have you interacted with Deborah Johnson, so Miss Johnson, in our advising office?
No,
I have
I only know Deborah for accounting, but not for this. I thought
Yeah,
her
yeah,
last name
Deborah.
was
Yeah, I'm
oh
talking about the
Wilson.
accounting Deborah.
Deborah,
Yeah,
Deborah Wilson, right?
Wilson,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, Wilson. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Okay,
Deborah
yes,
Wilson. Yeah,
yes, yes,
so,
yes.
because, Deborah was a student of mine about 10 years ago. Accounting. Yeah, she was kind of my star student. You probably noticed, right? She worked very, very hard by her age. She was the most serious student, probably the eldest students in my 231, I believe, 331, and a couple of other accounting courses, but she was the most serious one. And after she graduated, I think quickly our school hired her, because she really had a good connection with her, like the peers, students. It's really like good connection between the faculty and the students, right? So yeah, every time I saw her in, around the buildings, we talk. Yeah, so yeah, I'm very proud of her. I respect her a lot, actually. Yeah. So, but anyway, so imagine so Deborah is one of the advisors, and we have probably 2 or 3 more. And then you think about other college, right? They have their own advisors. So advisor is a school employee, right? So they have the same unique T number. So I probably would think they use a T number as the primary key as well, but we can identify the role or position, right? So we can identify that faculty or staff, and then the ranking of their working status, right? So we can link to the student. And then if you're looking for the teacher related to the course, we also can build a link between the teacher ID, another T number, right? So if you have for each semester, we should have a designated teacher for each course, right? So you can make a link. And again, the teacher database or teacher table or the advisor table relevant to be stable, right? I wouldn't really say permanent, but a relative stable, right? So as long as for the periods they work for the school. So that's kind of our but thinking about, okay, if I want to continue, if you are the HR people, how you can track the teacher's workload for each semester, and probably because in that way you can determine their pay, like the payrolls. So if I want to know the teachers, I want to have a database for all of the teachers in this semester and their courses they teach, and the credits, and then the workload, and then related to their payrolls. So what are how many, so if we can add maybe 1 or 2 other tables, so let's just focus on idea, okay, rather than the details. So any So what we can add a table to help us. So probably that was information for the new table we want to include. I'm thinking something similar to the student enrollment, right? I can have a teacher. That's just my idea. Okay, like teacher and class. Another like a junction something. Make sense? I can have a like the teacher ID, right? So T number. And then course ID again, but this one, you can see the T number. This is the teacher and a course combination. Do you think it makes sense? Because I just thought about this. I didn't plan. Then one teacher can be assigned like for as many classes they actually teach for the semester and the credit hours. And yeah, so this one can link to their like, my, workload, right? So like as for my status, I think for graduate faculty, so we have a 3-2 load, like one semester 3 courses and then other semester 2 courses. And if you are a admin, so if you hold a admin position, they have some course reductions, right? So for HR or like think about our business school management. In Dean's office, Veronica is in charge of the time sheets, right? So probably I can say like time, right? Time like regular. Do you have like a 6 hours, right? Something. I'm thinking if I relate to the workload and payrolls, okay, they can have something like this. So each month we report through our HR, they call self-reporting module, or self-service module. For me, I need to do this before, I believe, before the 15th of each month. So I report my hours each month to the HR, like like HR database. Then it's go through Veronica for approval, like approved by Veronica. Then the Dean Yan, and then it goes to the HR so they can finalize the payroll for each month. So you can see that's a business process. And also you can tell the rules, right, the internal controls. So I'm not really reporting my hours directly to the HR, right? But I need to be checked and approved by 2 persons at least, right? So tier by tier in the school, then go to the overall, like, by the college, and then go to the school. So, but this is just my additional thinking on the spot. Okay, not a plan. But now you think about if you work like managing a database less than, I'm not really sort of thinking about for TSU, but just thinking about small department, right? A position. So how many things you need to take into consideration. So you can see the modeling is very critical because you really need to think through, make sure the logics flow. I'm not missing any important attributes, and there is no confliction, right? Related to the design of the tables or the fields. So everything, and even after implement, you still can encounter, right, problems or errors before you really, you need to do lots of testing, right? So like error checking, testing, debugging before we really release a new system, okay, for the actual use. So that's like, the not only accounting information system, but any new type of system, technical modules, right? So like we heard about this, many successful, but also failed attempts, right? So if you search the business news, like successful information system implementation or failed, you will get lots of real company examples, maybe to your surprise. Okay, I couldn't really think on the top of my mind. I think one thing is a failed case I remember is Nike one time did a bad thing because they changed, I believe they changed their kind of like a checkout system right before the holiday seasons. And it didn't work well. And you can imagine what happened, right? So customer couldn't check out. And that affected their revenue a lot. The other one I remember is Overstock, the online kind of discount seller, right? So Overstock.com, it happened something similar. They updated their system right before the sales season. So it's a disaster. I think I remember they lost about like 40% of their revenue something, right? So later when we have time, we will talk about the system design, implementation, planning. Okay, it's not all about the technical things. It's like a project management, right? So from the starting design, you need to have brainstorming of all of the, talking with your employees, like you have a consulting person, right? Consulting company hired, or you do it by yourself. But anyway, it's a project management. I believe in our book, they have something like a system cycle, right? So how they design and monitor a successful system cycle. Okay, so that's incorporated, database is a big part of the whole system. Oh, so any more questions before I share the access?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay, yeah, let me stop. But if you like this, I can upload, okay, along with my access later into Blackboard. So if you want to keep a copy of this, it's like our discussion, right? So and okay, new share. Let me, yeah, probably, yeah, since I already opened my access file. Okay, so when you open a access file, it's something like this. Can you see my access now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because like I'm not operating anything, so you see all of the tabs, okay, under the home screen is grayed out because it's like you can see I have no table opened. Okay, so it's like inactive. Okay, after I open the tables, it will show the functions I can work on the tables or adding other objects. So when you open the Microsoft Access, it's not a part of your Office 365. So I already emailed. You should already have it on your laptop or your computer, or if you don't have it on your own, like the appliances, like the computers, you always can use our school. So in all of the labs, not only for our building, you also can, I believe, in the library, and also the general lab. Okay, like the labs, once you can, like, all campus, okay, the lab computers, they already have installed the access. But if you use the computer lab on campus, make sure you save your database. Okay, after you work on your database, make sure you save it in a thumb drive, flash drive, or you save it under your cloud drive and email a copy of yourself as a backup. Because if you only save on like the local drive of the computer lab, they erase all of the files, okay, on daily purpose. So you will lose your data. because some of the database you cannot really finish if you go to the lab one time. Okay, I think I can finish and then submit. I don't need to save it. But our project will be a step by step. You probably need a whole week, so a few days to work on and complete. Okay, so that's something really be careful, but I will send a reminder, okay, for people using the computer labs. So when you open the access, you can see like the working area is a little, not really exactly similar, right? But something you can relate it to Excel because it's still a Microsoft product. And you have your main tabs on the top. So we have less tabs. So than the Excel, right? So the Excel is really got complicated now. And we have the home. Okay, this is on the home. And then you have the file. The file is something similar to Word or Excel. You can save, you can open a new database, and even you can use some template. But basically for saving, like, so the like the database you work on. And create is a main tab or main function we use a lot, especially when you try to build new objects in your database. We have 4 major type of objects. If you already started to read the chapter 6 ebook, we have tables. So table is like our entities, classes. And you have queries. Query is your data request or data search. Okay, so every time you can initiate a query, data query, using the built-in query wizard or use the SQL coding. We can write our own code to search data. That's quite cool. I like that part later. So once we finish the original, use the built-in queries, we'll learn some of the SQL coding language. And then the form. So form are the interface. We enter data is like, when you fill a online customer, like new customer form, or like a sales receipt form, and adding inventory to the inventory tables. So the form is the approach or like the channel we enter data into the tables. Later, I will explain. As for practice, we can enter data directly in the table like we work in the worksheets, right? So like I have the worksheets, I adding rows and columns, but in practice, in a real database, so imagine I'm only the authorized user of the database, but I'm not the manager of the database, then you couldn't really access the table directly. Because think about if every user in your company, no matter about their position or like the rank, if everyone can access and change your table structure or the data in the table, so what might happen? So think about if I'm a faculty, so think about like my position as a teacher. Okay, can I change student table? Can TSU give me rights to like manage or change student data? So if you are the system person, would you let a faculty to change student data?
No, not
No.
ideally. You want a data
Yeah,
administrator to do that,
right.
database administrator.
Yeah. So what may happen is I do have interaction, right? So with student data, when I looking for my course listing, right? So like every semester, especially in the beginning, I'm looking for how many students registered. I normally check your names, right? Because like for sequential, I may have students from my prior courses. I will try to find, okay, maybe some familiar name. And then in the T-Claw, right? So, I can see your status, right? So your name, even your probably some contact information, emails, and your picture you put on the banner, but I couldn't alter. I couldn't change. Okay, for me, my right is only view for certain type of information. I can see your TIN number, but maybe your financial aid, and I don't really think I can see your accumulated GPA or whatever, the grading. Okay, you can see like I have that's the business rules, right? So which user has like which type of rights, right? But for my class, like my accounting 3-1, the spring, I have full charge for my Blackboard by platform, so I can change your grade, adding grade and adding assignments, update the grade, and even I think in Connect, I even can enroll a student, I believe. I have never tried or drop a student. And probably I don't think I can drop students, but otherwise, I have my own, right? For a special course management. Then the grade I assigned for, like the final grade I assigned for each student will flow to the, your student database, right? So like then it will be added to your current grading, and you can see I do control my own, but also I have connection, right? So I'm not managing or overseeing the student performance, but I can transfer my data. How I can transfer my course grade to the overall student? There's a link by the class you registered, right? So that's all, implemented. But anyway, okay, that's like the, additional. So you can see even with practice, okay, so I can say, oh, you can originally adding the data in the tables, but in a real database as users, okay, as general users, we only can, like when we enter journal entry, right? So new transactions into our accounting system, I have a worksheet, like a form. I add each journal entry, but I couldn't really change my ledger accounts or the overall trial balances because that's internal. Okay, it's like the tables holding the data we give that part. Okay, makes sense. So form is what I say, like the media, right? So like media linking the transaction data to the internal tables. So putting the transaction data into the tables. And finally, the report is like your dashboard, right? So like my presentation, like printing, you can do lots of formatting, and then it's like a visualization, right? So make it nice and maybe interactive report, right? So we can use it for presentations or discussions, right? And the report, you may think, oh, how a report is different from a query. Query is like a, what I say, like is your data search questions. Okay, so it's like you are doing a Google search. Oh, now you can it's like you chat, right? So you do chat GPT, you ask questions. Makes sense? It's like you can change your question as many times as you want. But if you get a final answer, right? Yeah, I think, oh, this is my final answer. After you drill down the chat GPT or Google, then I want to print, right? Or save the result to a final report. Then I can, format and adding some other things, right? So that's your your report. So the report you can directly get from your original tables, right? You can print your whole table or part of the table as a report, or you can print a report based upon the queries we generated. Make sense?
Yes.
And macros we don't really touch, is more like I think the beyond, like the designing or the data computer people, or as application, because for account like business people, we use it as a tool, right? So we are not really designing. So the most often we are interacting, or like the 4 components we normally use in a book, like 4 components of 4 objects. So if you see here, okay, they call object. So all access objects in lab, so they call objects. We have tables, then okay, tables, queries, form, and report. And right now, I only added, okay, myself, I only added 4 tables. I will show you quickly how I can make a quick query and create a form to add data and then generate a report. Okay, so so the major thing in the beginning is same thing to in the Excel is build your table structure, right? So make sure I have all of the attributes and then define the keys, primary key, foreign key, the relationships, and also you can then work on some of the data. Okay, so let me open okay, so first let me open the student. This one I don't know why I couldn't really make, there is really no size adjustment like zoom large, right? So as long as I hope you can still see it. I made the tables, it's quite like a worksheet, right? So in the Excel, it's quite similar. And you have rows and columns, right? So in the row, they also call row, or I think tuple, if you read a book, or they have another name like TUPLE, okay, the row, record, or like a tuple. And then the columns are your attributes, or the fields, or like, the features, right? So for the students. So normally the first column is your primary key, and then other attributes. When you design the attributes, you can make it a required or optional. Okay, that's like, when you try to enter information into a form, some of the fields are required, right? And some fields are optional. And you can adjust that, or you can customize that, or use the access directly. I have, you can see starting date, like the overall GPA I didn't require, but I do have a advisor ID, right? Because that's the one I want to link to the advisor table later. Okay, this is, when you're looking for your objects, okay, you have different views. Okay, that's a big difference than the Excel, because this is the database. And the default, when you open something like the object, the default is like a datasheets view. They call datasheets view, like either worksheet. If I want to switch, okay, how you designed. So if I, for example, I want to add more columns, or delete one column, or change the data type, or modify, okay, in a like, right. So if I want to modify a table, mostly I want to look for the structure. You can see after I switch my tab to the home, you will have a view option with the ruler, okay, like this. So view, right now I'm on data sheets. If you click on that, for tables, we have 2, so data sheets and then design. So let me show you the design. And this is the, and when I design my table, actually I used here directly, like define the name of each attribute and their data type. Or then I add, show it in the data sheets. You also can do it in the data sheets directly, but for me, it's less convenient and less efficient if I use the design view directly. I can show you later. Okay, I will try to build a teacher table so we can see how to build a new table. Okay, after we go over this. And once you, how I can know this is my primary key? Did you see you have a small key like before the student ID, right? So this is the key column. I can easily to change. You can see this is the key, right? So if I, for example, I want to change the key to another column. So for example, the last name. Okay, let me do this. You can see I can add. because I already defined, I couldn't really change. Okay, but before I link to other tables, you can change to other columns. I'm just saying, okay, you can update your key as proper. Okay. And also you can do this update. I can right click here. So right click, I can also update the key information. Okay. And also when you right click a row, you also see I can insert, right, delete, similar to my worksheet operations. So if I want to insert something in between and cut or copy. Let me just maybe add another column. Okay, if you can see here, I can direct it to anything I want to. Maybe I say like expected graduation, right? So expected graduation date, like year, or like a date. I just put date, and because it's a data variable, right? And see, yeah, we'll click on that. The default is short text, and then you have lots of other data formats. Text you have short and long. You don't want to really use a long text for short name, right? So mostly for text column, we can use short text. You have regular numbers and large numbers. And numbers, you can define the decimals or in the bottom part as refinement of the column. So this one will pick and even you can use a currency, auto number, yes or no, hyperlink, calculated. I can design like for example, if it's a sales revenue, I can define it as the multiplication of sales price per unit and the sales quantity. Okay, I don't have the sales revenue in the original data, but I can create a calculated field based upon the data I already have in the table. And I even can make a lookup wizard. For example, when I see the advisor, I don't want you to make mistake, right? Like it's like when you put your address, when you put the state, you mostly see a drop-down menu, right, for all of the short names of each state, rather than let you put in by yourself. So you can make it a lookup wizard. I already did something I can show you later. Very cool. Okay, so you can link that. Okay, but this one I will define, for example, a date time. And if you want to add it as a required, you see here, it's quite small, but you can see the default is no. If it's required, you can change it to yes. Okay, I just leave it as no because I don't want to add too much data. Okay, that's all of the refinements. And you want the data in like a special format, and even you can do validations. Okay, for example, I want a number, like my revenue should be positive, right? So I would define it should be larger than 0. Revenue will be larger than 0, but net income can be positive or negative, right? So that's like something. So let me close this. Okay, then the other, yeah, so because I changed, okay, every time they remind you to save, okay, I just save it. Now let me open the file. So let me see. You can see how I can enter data directly from here. So I will add another student. You can do this, okay, or you can use the form, okay, actually in the real world. So I just put like Li. I don't know why I'm just like, they automatically switch to Chinese input like quite. Did you think for the major, I made it as a lookup? Yeah, it's very simple. Okay, I can show you when we move on, but this is very useful, right? And starting date, they will show you a calendar. It's quite convenient. Okay, just randomly thick. And the advisor, also a lookup. I just randomly do it. So after you design, so I will close this and show you the others. Then we check the relationship. So the course listing, I have put it only 2 courses here. So I put a name, enrollment, right? So course listing and the ID. The primary key is the course number. Okay, if you see the design view, okay, that's like my other fields. And then employee, the advisor, I put 2 people here, right? 2 advisors. And then the interesting thing is this one. See that like the junction table we talk about, the bridge table, right? So this is I have, if you see, yeah, I even can make this is a yes or no. Like, have you make your payments? Or is this course a required course or not, right? Optional course or elective course for the students, right? So that's like another type of field type choices. And then the design view for this one, you see I have a combo, 2 columns, two columns as combo or composite primary key. Okay, student ID and course ID. One critical thing is when you match, will match the primary key and the foreign key. Okay, for example, the course ID, the name, like the text name of the key can be different. Okay, I can call course ID or course number or call, doesn't matter. Okay, that's fine as long as, but the data type must match. I couldn't define the ID here. For example, I put it as a long text or I put it as a number because it seems for me like a number. Then in the course listing, for example, the course ID is a text, then you couldn't connect them. When you build the relationships, it will have errors. So that's critical. So again, the text name can be different, but the data type and the data itself, it must match. Okay, I have like a course 1110, then you have the course 1110 in other one. Okay, data must match, and the data, the data type must match. So most time when from my prior lab courses, most students couldn't link the tables, is they made a mistake on having the same data type. Okay, in one table, they define it as number, and then the other one they define as text. But any mismatch the data type will prevent you building relationships. Question?
Does the name in the field name, does it have to be underscore? Is the underscore required?
Very good observation. Very good observation. It's not required, but kind of recommended, because later when you write the code, okay, like for the, if you use a built-in app, doesn't matter too much. If we later, when I write a code, I better use a underscore to link 2 words or 3 words. Otherwise, you have to use the, what I say, the not parentheses, the quotation marks in your coding. Yeah, because they may, the language, they may read as separate.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's something. So I'm trying to, but even like I see this, I didn't do it, right? So
because I noticed on your the other one, the
right,
student one,
yeah.
they were all yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that's like especially happen you have multiple words, or you can just eliminate, right? Just no, like just no space. Like, I said, course ID or like do this, right? But sometimes this looks better. Okay, so you can do this, no problem.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a very good observation. Okay. It's theoretically not wrong, but later adding something or adding some additional work when you do the codings. So okay, right. So let me close that. And yeah, I made a change. The critical thing, how we, once I build the tables, okay, how I link them and define the multiplicities as we show in the Excel. And for database, we use this icon, okay, the tab. So database tools, we don't use this a lot because once you make a relationship build up, don't always like that's one kind of the other system maintenance. Keep the system relative stable rather than change too much, because once you can show you once I open, did you see I already linked them? If you change a lot, even you try to update, it will really affect the relationships we already have, and sometimes affect the attributes we originally use in the tables. So it make your database really unstable, and it can cause unnecessary errors and mistakes. Yeah, sometimes you even mess up, like you mess up, you confused by yourself what I did. Okay, because now once you want to change something, then everything won't work because they already linked. So make it stable. Okay, and sometimes after you link, remember when I tried to change my student ID, I couldn't because you can see this link is already built. If I want to change the ID, even I want to change the name, I believe I have to cut this link first, then go back to the table change and re-link them here. It's quite some work. So technical side. And did you think I have the one too many? Right, so especially after we have this junctional table, the one too many, right? So it's already expressed here. Let me delete one so I can show you how I can build again. Okay. So let me delete this one. So it's very simple. You highlight, okay. In case, okay, like if I really need to change, right? So I have to remove the link, change the table, and come back here. Very simple. Okay, once you make sure this is the like student ID and student ID, right? So from here, then you just highlight, or even I don't really think you need to really highlight, as long as you pull your cursor, right? So over this one, and then drag. So hold on the mouse, don't release until you get over the other key, right? And release it. You see the Access is detecting these two fields, right? So table query, student enrollment, that are table names. And normally when like we said, I really want to, don't want my like data record mess up. I normally use a inverse referential integrity. Okay, means like, for example, I couldn't have a student in my enrollment data. For example, I type a wrong student ID, not existing in my student database, then the system wouldn't let you do it. They tell you you have a wrong student ID. If you don't click on this one, you can make, or some people can add some like a fraud, like, add a real non-existing students into the database. Yeah, that's for data safety issues, okay, concerns. So after you check that one, you can see this link is already there. So that's a way, make sure you, you have the right keys defined in the tables. Okay, we can bring them. You can see how once, because I already opened, right? So how I can bring them into my Canvas and do these operations. When you open the database, like initially you want, if you don't have this one will not be grayed out. You can click on relationship. You also can, you see all of your tables on the right. So you can just drag them. You can see I can even drag it the second time, right? But they call student 1, but I don't need it. Later, if we have the teacher, I will drag them. Okay, so I will just delete. I don't need it. Because we only have about 10 minutes something. So let me close this. Let's create I will show you create a new teacher table. Using the design view, add like maybe a few data, then we can link here. Okay, adding the teacher table into our overall database relationships. So I will close. Once you change on something, or even like I operated, or I didn't really change, so I will just no save, or it's only for demo, okay, the purpose. Again, once I close it, you see the relationship appears. Okay. So I'm going to create a new table, the teacher. Okay, so create, and not really table design or some, just a plain table, okay, like a new table. When you try create table, is like give you a temporary name. You can directly adding the columns here. Okay. Or you can use the like the design view. I normally do the design view because the ID here, they automatically use the auto number. But most of the time, I want to use my own, right, like numbering system. But you can start from here. Okay, like, for example, the second column, I will do a short text. Okay, this will be last name. I can switch to the data sheets later. Okay, even I started on something. So I can switch back and first. So last name and this one I call another short text you need to define, right? And then you can change the name. I call like maybe department, right? So which department this teacher? I don't know, this the typing is really hate. And now let me switch to, okay, finish the rest under the design view. But before switch the design view, you need to save your table. Okay, I will call like faculty. So annoying. I need to change my again. So I think I like this design view. I already have the ID, and now I can change the ID to like teacher. Okay, teacher key number, right? So I will call specially, and it's not a auto number. So I will change the default. Sometimes lots of people forgot the auto number, then they want to build the link, they failed. Okay, that because the data type. Okay, I will just use a short text. So that's the teacher ID, I believe, in my class listing or course listing. And I want to put a rank. Okay, just this for, okay, another short text, no problem. Rank, right? So I will just use this for, okay, and then close it. And the ID, or you see already added here. Okay, if I want to change the ID, because this one I haven't linked it yet. For example, okay, I want to change to last name, or even that's not a good choice. Just to show you, okay, you can change. And but I'm going back. And if you want to make a combo, like 2 rows as a primary key, what I did, I just highlighted this row, 2 rows, and put on key. You can see they will do it. But this is not the right case, okay, for this one. So for this, I will, but just add the teacher number. So I will close it. Save again. Before I add any data, let me do the adding the database. Okay, so we can see some. Probably let me just add one data. T300. randomly. Okay, 0, 1. So 1. Department. Again, you can make the department a checkup list, or like a pop-up list, or rather than, and the ranking, you also can make it like a professor or associate professor, assistant, right? Or like adjunct professor, lecturer, right? I'm just like, saying, okay, so think about those details. Okay, but just add 1 here. And then and go to my database tool, okay, relationships. Now you see my faculty table appeared, right? All you can see from here at the table. Okay, if you click on here, oh, it's shown. Add the faculty here. So let's check for which one. So for this faculty, which table I can link? Here, right? So course listing. So who teaches this course this semester? So I can from either, from here to here or from here to here. That doesn't matter about the which field you start, okay, in first. And because that's what we say, one to many. Right? So one teacher can teach multiple courses each semester. And also in chapter 5 homework, so the foreign key normally should not be in your primary table, right? So in your primary table, you have the primary key, and the matching key in the other table is your foreign key. Then I should be fine now. Okay, all of the 5 tables are linked together. And the one we don't, right? So like this student enrollment and employee, they don't need to be linked. Faculty and student enrollment is not linked. Students and course listing is also linked, not linked. Okay, so just the one we need. So close, and yes. Let me show you quickly. I can do a quick query. So what do you want to search? For example, I want to so let me create a query wizard. Okay, let me do a query wizard quickly to a data search. So I will just do a simple query wizard. Okay, we have like a wizard is like a template. Okay, if you do something like standard, simple, or I will show you the duplicate like later, but just do a simple one. So for this one, it's really a step by step. So you don't really need to design your own anything or no, let alone, okay, you don't need to type any code. So just pick from the tables you have and select the data you want to extract. For example, I want to use my course listing, right? So like our student enrollment. Or maybe, not this one. This one, okay. Let me see my course listing. Right. So course listing, you can see that's the only field for the course listing, right? For teacher, I only have the what I say, like the before I do this, probably I can add cancel. Let me cancel this. Okay, let me add a course listing, add a teacher. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any data. Okay, so like accounting information system, I made it a so I will put T. So what do we put? T3001, right? These are like probably the one I put. Yeah, make sure it's matched with the faculty. Yeah, 3001. The query thing you can see, I can put the pro information from 2 tables together. Yeah, let me close this too so we can do the query. Again. So if I see the course listing, and that's only the information for the teacher information, I only have the number, right? So for example, I want to also, I want to see the teacher name and department and the rank. Okay, so I want to pull information from 2 tables together. If you don't have the relationship, you only can pull information from 1 single table. But if you link them together, you can let the system to do the related search. Okay, let me show you. So I will have the course. When I select, like, how many, because I'm on this table, okay, you can select all of the, when you see the data, do you want all of the columns? Or I can pick, right, you can see here, name, title, enrollment. Then I don't really want the prerequisites, right? So I just put the teacher name. Then don't move yet. Okay, you can see I will pick the faculty table. So second time I can pick a related table. This one I already have the teacher number. I just want the last name, department, and the rank. I hope it will okay. Okay, I didn't run this. So it's always a testing. Okay, I hope we can get it run smoothly. Did you see I pull fields, okay, data search from 2 linked tables. Let's move on. And you can select a format. I think I just put the details, no summary. And next. And I will call title, yeah, course listing query. And open the query, I'll just use the default. Oh, I got it. Did you see? Because I only have one, okay, like one
Yes, I
course.
see.
Yeah. Do you see? Yeah. The first 5 columns, right? Those the first few columns are from the course listing table. Now we use the teacher number as a link, right? Primary key, foreign key. Okay, so it's only appear 1 time. Then I bring the teacher information into the scene. Later, if I want to make this as a report, I can save, print, right? So that's the database. You couldn't really do this easily in Excel. I think you still can do it, but it's very hard. So it's not really recommended for database management. But Access, you can see lots of people I like Access also. It really can be a smaller scale. I know lots of people, they use Access to build for example, I have a family shop, right? So I have a small family business. I can really use a database to build something for my own business. Okay, to manage my sales, inventories, revenues. Yeah, it's pretty much manageable, like a smaller scale, but pretty powerful for most of the, the database needs. And once I click on, okay, like you want to save, once I save, did you see I have another new object? Okay, then once you build it down later, when we create forms and reports, is like your table of contents, okay, or object contents. So I will send, so save this. How about, do you want to, if you want to try something, probably I can remove the faculty table and then you can use my database and probably can build a faculty table and link them to the other tables or try the try the one like the demos I did later. But you always can, I can probably upload the whole database. Okay, you can delete this faculty table and add one by yourself. or even you can have 2 faculty table, no problem. So you can, if you want to delete, very simple, right? So you highlight the table and right click, delete. Yeah, I used this before because especially for class demos, I normally create multiple table, right? So each time I delete a old one and then build a new one during the demos. And you also can rename, you can see, and other operations, copy, right? And link the task manager table properties. And so I can close this and then you can open. Okay, so when you open your database, remember where you save it, like your Excel or Word, and reopen if you have the app. I think that's probably for today, and next Tuesday we'll continue on. So you know, you can, when we have the class time, you can, if possible, if it's convenient, you can work, you know, like you can, you know, I will demo the lab access in the book, or you can follow me, or you can only watch and try it by yourself later. Okay, so that's kind of the planning. Because mostly chapter 6, you can see after they review the database like structure, the most of the stuff is really learn to use Access to understand the database management.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. You like
So
it?
I had a question, Professor.
Okay.
Do we, on the video we're recording, is it just to introduce ourselves to upload as extra credit, or it's a required assignment?
It's like it's really like a bonus. It's not really required, you know, because that's something I learned from my, I mean, I'm taking an online class teaching certificate class. So I'm a student now. It's almost a year long. So like each week we are learning some like new modules for teaching. So how to make a online teaching more productive and interactive and improve student performance, or synchronized. So they're introducing different techniques. So this video introduction is something I learned from last week to build a stronger supportive community. So I'm saying I kind of feel awkward. I introduce in the middle of the semester, right? You know, not in the beginning. So yeah, it's pretty flexible. Okay, so yeah, that's my point.
Okay.
Yeah. Because for this asynchronized, especially for me, I really don't know most of the physics. Okay, I want to make some connection, right? And also probably you want to know your peers. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. And yeah, I will upload the Excel and the Access. Okay, you can continue to work on something, right? Even maybe you can use my tablet to see whether you can build a, I wouldn't really make it as a assignment, like a, you know, required assignment, but I really encourage if you can replicate a small database like the one we are doing here. For example, even you only can, and probably you only do 3 tables, right? So I don't really need the advisor table or, you know, the faculty table. I only do the student, course, and student enrollment. That's quite practice. You feel much different after you try it by yourself.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I will also like you know, make an announcement, right, for the, you know, the remainder. Okay, that kind of like a 5 days before next Tuesday, right? So I will let the class know also.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I will. I'm going to have my MBA class. I will keep it here. You know, I will stay here because yeah, the other class we use the same. You can log out. Okay, have a
Okay.
yeah, have a good evening
Okay.
and
You
a
too.
nice weekend. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. And then you'll stop the recording. Okay.
Yeah, I will stop recording. Yes, thank you
Okay.
for
Okay,
reminding me.
thank
Yeah,
you.
okay. Yeah, rather than it's like mix up together.